So there's been something I've been wanting to talk about all week, but it's been so crazy with all the news that I haven't really gotten around to it. But I want to talk about it today because it actually is symbolic of what's been happening all week. It is a good way to get into the theme of what's been happening all week, which is this new show from Sacha Baron Cohen. Now, I don't like Cohen. I think I have said this since Borat. I wrote a piece for PJ Media about this when Borat came out. And I said this on The Conversation the other day. He's a funny, talented man, and what he does is wrong. And that is something that, we really have to understand that that's possible. Like Eminem, a talented writer of songs who writes songs that are ugly and disgusting and encourage people who don't know any better to have really bad attitudes toward women, the police. It is possible to be incredibly cool and incredibly bad. And you cannot succumb to the tyranny of cool. When I wrote this piece about Cohen, about Borat, for PJ Media, I got all this blowback from people saying, no, you don't understand. He's funny. I know he's funny. I can see he's funny. But when you take a camera crew to ordinary people and trick them into making fun of themselves, it is such an imbalance of power. You have all that power of movie making, of audience, and they've got nothing. And it's easy to make fun of people. I have seen him make fun of police trainers, guys who train police, making fun of them. I've seen him make fun of a woman who taught people how to have good manners. Just ridiculing her and making her embarrassed on camera and then putting that on camera to make fun of her. That is such an abuse of power. I really believe it started with David Letterman. I don't have any problem with a guy going out and asking questions of people and the people don't know the answers, and that's kind of funny. That's one thing. They know what they're getting into. They can walk away if they want to. But to pretend you're somebody you're not and lead them into making fun of themselves is just wrong. It is an abuse of the power of show business, and show business has tremendous power. So he's got a new show out, and of course it's called Who is America? And he's British, by the way, so this is this guy from overseas attacking us, and it's always directed against middle America. He just thinks middle America is the stupidest thing ever, and a lot of attacks on gun rights. And so here's a cut of the promo. This is Showtime. The show did have its debut. It didn't do very well in the immediate ratings, but I think with the streaming and all that stuff, it did fine. I find this incredibly anti-Semitic, typical Jewish anti-Semitism. He pretends to be an Israeli guy trying to sell to people the idea that children as young as 3 should be armed, which is funny, and these guys are public officials, so maybe it's not quite as bad as doing ordinary people, but still, I found this incredibly anti-Semitic. Here it is.
We start a program in Israel for kindergartens.
Okay.
We train them from the age 16 down to the age 3.
Yeah, well, I think it would be a good idea.
It's genuinely funny. I'm not denying it. He is a talented, funny guy. He did get caught. I just want to play this part just because I got a kick out of it. Nora Sweden, a California gun owner, spotted him when he came in. And here's a report on that.
He comes in off the bat. You can see in the video, I'm looking, I'm like, this guy does not look like a Hungarian immigrant. Tight leather pants, a beard. It just didn't fit.
But he says it's what Cohen said after that handshake that really blew his cover.
I want to buy a gun. Like that, talking like that. And I just kept looking at the guy and I was like, you're Borat. As soon as I said that, his eyes just looked at me and he did a B-turn right out the door.
Sweden says the video shows Cohen bailing on his crew after he gets called out. So then he turns to question the producer.
We're talking to the people. They don't want to give us an answer. We basically told them, get the out. You guys are all full of have a great day. Get out.
That's also funny. I said he was a California gun owner. He's a gun store owner. The guy came into the gun store. I love the fact that he ditched his crew. Rob, I would never leave you behind. I put you in front of me, and so I wouldn't get hit. But I would never leave you behind. So here is the thing. It's funny. There are stupid Republicans, and you can get people to say stupid things on camera when they're trying to be nice to you. They're trying to be polite. People are always trying to adjust to you so that it's easy to kind of lure them in to this thing, and you can get people to say stupid things. But you don't have to fool the Democrats to say stupid things. See, this is the difference between the Republicans and the Democrats. You can find stupid Republicans. A lot of times you find them online on the comment section and stuff like that. But the Democrats, what they believe is stupid. This is the party of, it's a party of socialism. It's the party of abortion. It's the party that is supporting a corrupt deep state attacking our elected officials. This is the party where this, the central premise of this party is they're in charge. The government is charged. The government will take care of you, but they get to tell you what to do. It is completely antithetical to America. So my point about this is, yeah, you can make fun of us. You can make fun of Donald Trump when he makes a mistake in Helsinki. I think he did make a mistake in Helsinki, but who is doing Putin's business? Who is helping Putin out? What does Putin want? Putin, and he's been, you got to say, Putin has been incredibly successful. You want to talk about when Trump called Kim Jong-un a talented leader? Vladimir Putin is a talented killer. He is a talented gangster. All right, so here's the thing. Who is doing Putin's business? Putin wants to divide us. He wants our government mixed up in arguing and screaming at one another. He wants to make hot button issues even hotter. Who is doing that business? Trump has now adjusted his message, right? He did an interview with CBS, and he's now saying, "Oh yes, I get it. I trust the intelligence people, and Putin did, in fact, hack our elections."
But you haven't condemned Putin specifically. Do you hold him personally responsible?
Well, I would, because he's in charge of the country, just like I consider myself to be responsible for things that happen in this country. So certainly, as the leader of a country, you would have to hold him responsible, yes.
Did he say that with Putin? I have no idea whether he actually said that with Putin, but at least he's got the message right now, okay? So who is doing Putin's business? Is it Donald Trump for making the same mistake that Obama made? And he referenced that thing with Dmitry Medvedev where Obama said, "Oh yeah, I'll have more flexibility after the election. We can take out the missiles. We won't have to put missiles into Europe," which he actually didn't do. He actually followed up on that and came through. That was considered a kind of momentary gaffe, a little bit of a blip in Obama's brilliance. Trump essentially makes a momentary gaffe, and it's Armageddon. What serves Putin more? Us deciding that every time Trump opens his mouth, it's Armageddon, or Trump saying this? Now, Trump goes on in this interview to point out that his accusation that the deep state has been corrupted, the Department of Justice and our intelligence services have been corrupted by Barack Obama and just deep state arrogance to come after him. It is a fair point, and he is still making it in this CBS interview. That's the next cut.
Do you think any intelligence agencies, U.S. intelligence agencies, are out to get you?
Well, certainly in the past, it's been terrible. You look at Brennan, you look at Clapper, you look at Hayden, you look at Comey, you look at McCabe, you look at Strzok and his lover, Lisa Page. You look at other people in the FBI that have been fired, that are no longer there. Certainly, I can't have any confidence in the past, but I can have a lot of confidence in the present and the future, because it's getting to be now where we're putting our people in. But in the past, no, I have no confidence in a guy like Brennan. I think he's a total lowlife. I have no confidence in Clapper. Clapper wrote me a beautiful letter when I first went to office, and it was really nice. And then all of a sudden, he's gone haywire because they got to him and they probably got him to say things that maybe he doesn't even mean.
Well, he's talking about John Brennan, the former communist and CIA director and current pompous gas bag, who tweeted out that Donald Trump's press conference performance in Helsinki rises and exceeds the threshold of high crimes and misdemeanors. It was nothing short of treasonous, which helps Putin more. Trump making a gaffe at Helsinki, or tweeting that the president is committing treason. Which makes Putin laugh? You think about it for a minute. Who is serving Putin more? Certainly Clapper, when Clapper falsely claimed that there was no evidence that NSA was spying on us, when he leaked the anti-Trump dossier to Jake Tapper and then convinced, what did he do? He sent Comey in to talk to Trump and then leaked that to CNN. What is causing more division? What is causing more division? Here is Rand Paul, who is he's no Trump slave by any stretch of the imagination. Here's Rand Paul talking about John Brennan.
You know, John Brennan started out his adulthood by voting for the Communist Party presidential candidate. He's now ending his career by showing himself to be the most biased, bigoted, over-the-top, hyperbolic, sort of unhinged director of the CIA we've ever had. And really, it's an insult to everything about our government to have a former head of the CIA calling the president treasonous just because he doesn't like him. But realize that Brennan, you know, I filibustered Brennan. I tried to keep Brennan from ever being the leader of the CIA. But realize that Brennan and Clapper are known for wanting to expand the authority of the intelligence agencies to grab up everyone's information, including Americans. And so I don't have a lot of respect for these people. Even before they decided to go on hating the president, I disliked these people because they wanted to grab up so much power and use it against the American people.
And they have, and they've used it against the choice of the American people, who's Donald Trump. He was duly elected president of the United States, and they've done nothing but try to undercut and delegitimize his presidency. And so has the media, and so have the Democrats. And what serves Putin more? What serves Putin more than that? By the way, I have to mention, I mentioned that I met, this woman, Maria Butina, who's now been arrested, charged with being a Russian spy. And I mentioned that I met her at this David Horowitz event several years ago. And she was walking around in this very slinky dress. And later I saw her in a almost non-existent bikini. And the guy who was leading her around, I'm not going to mention his name, but he was a guy, who shows up at these things, a conservative guy. And I'm such a naive, or let's put it this way, my mind is so much in the gutter that all I was thinking about is that she was trying to pick up a rich American husband. It never occurred to me that she might be a spy. And of course, I have no secrets to share except how to write a really effective action scene. I thought I'd have turned that secret over to her in a minute. But what was really funny was she's charged that the guy who was with her, when I saw the guy who was with her, I thought, man, he thinks she's going to sleep with him. That's why he's doing this. And sure enough, they now charge that they were living together, which I think just makes me feel a little bit better about myself. At least I wasn't a complete naive. Anyway, all of this stuff, the Democratic Party, what does it represent? Who is in it? It's Keith Ellison. It's yesterday, they have that Ocasio-Cortez came out with this stupid thing. Every word out of her mouth is like stupider than the last word that came out. If she stops talking, she would just get smarter, but every word she says is dumber than less. So she wants to abolish ICE. And the Democrats will now jump on anything, any stupid idea that somebody who has some popularity has. So they say, yeah, abolish ICE. We got to abolish ICE. So in the House, the Republicans said, okay, let's put your money where your mouth is. They put a non-binding resolution to support ICE, to support the law enforcement work of ICE. And I think 133 Democrats voted present. Unbelievable, these guys. And then they were saying, well, that's not fair. You're making us vote. You're making us put our money where our mouth is. We just wanted to scream without going on record. And they scream, but there's still children being separated at the border. These are the people who hate the police. They hate ICE. They hate our borders. Keith Ellison, one of them, their congressman, he is saying that borders themselves it's just not fair that we have borders. This is cut number 11.
They allow capital to travel over borders, and all capital is people who happen to own something we call a corporation, which is a legal arrangement which gives them special rights, and labor, which is a regular person, cannot travel back and forth across the border. And so corporations, certain people who get certain rights, can go back and forth across the border seeking out the lowest wages, but regular people cannot go back and forth across the border seeking out the highest wages. So what it creates is an imbalance. It creates an injustice.
Why is that nonsense? Because American corporations can go out across the border. American workers can go somewhere else for better pay. American workers can go to another country for better pay. What we're saying is you can't come here and become an America. In San Francisco, they began registering non-citizens, including illegal immigrants, to register to vote in the November election for the city school board after passage of a 2016 ballot measure by San Francisco. This is a beautiful city now covered in homeless crap, and the crap from homeless people. It's a lawless city. It's a dangerous city. It's an ugly city that used to be beautiful because of the left. And now they're letting illegal aliens vote in school board meetings. This is who they are. These are the dealers with Iran who sent them cash on pallets in the middle of the night. These are the people who let the Russia back into the Middle East in Syria. Donald Trump made a mistake. Who serves Putin's purposes most? Who does it? It is definitely the Democrats, and it is who they are. I got to play this clip. This is an English clip, Channel 4. Just ordinary voters I was on the BBC once, only one. These people only have me on once because once they hear what I'm saying, they only let me on one time. And they had this thing where a BBC reporter went into Appalachia and interviewed a poor person about why she doesn't like Barack Obama with all the wonderful programs she has. And the woman said to her, "You know, honey, you can't spend your way out of debt." I said to the BBC guy, that woman probably doesn't have a college education. She is a better economist than your reporter. You wonder why the BBC never had me back, but that's why. So here you can hear the shock in the British reporter as these Trump voters speak with perfect common sense in the light of the Democrats' craziness.
President Trump's been called a traitor. I wonder how you feel about that.
Honestly, we laugh out loud when we hear it. We're like, what? What are we hearing? We're on the brink of war? No, President Trump
One press meeting.
Right.
One press conference, we're at war.
The public expects nothing less than from the swamp in D.C. and their cronies in the media.
It was a 1 hour press conference after a 2 hour private meeting. We have no idea what happened in the private meeting. It was a 1 hour press conference, and I'm supposed to change my opinion about a president that's doing all kinds of amazingly positive things because of a 1 hour press conference.
It's the swamp screaming. It's the swamp being Chicken Little, the sky's falling in. And the American people are getting tired of it.
But you've got Republicans criticizing President
Those are
Trump.
never Trumpers. And you know what? We love when Trump is Trump because it exposes them, and we love that. We love seeing it.
We can focus on what Trump says in a press conference, or we can focus on what he actually does.
Yes.
And he's put people back to work, record low unemployment for Hispanics, for African Americans, record high employment for the whole country. Look at what he does. It speaks to middle America. And the swamp may not like it, but
they don't like it.
And that's why they're screaming pretty loud.
See, I have not said that Trump was right. I think that Trump not only is wrong in what he did in Helsinki, what he said in Helsinki, he is wrong in his attitude toward Putin. There's no deal to be made with a gangster who wants to wipe you off the face of the earth. You can make a deal with a gangster who wants something from you, who's like a leech who wants to suck blood out of you because the leech doesn't want to kill the host. But if the gangster just wants to wipe you out, which is what Putin wants, he wants to be czar of Russia, and he wants Russia to crush the competition, which is us. I don't think there's a deal to be made there, and I think Trump is wrong. I think he is in the wrong in his approach to Putin. He's not wrong in his approach to Russia. He's been very tough on Russia in terms of his deeds, but he's wrong in his approach to Putin. But how can we even begin to discuss the right and wrong of what Trump is doing in a calm, rational manner if the opposition party is the party of socialism, the party of abortion, the party of madness, screaming at everything he says? The thing is, I did like the part in that where they said we like Donald Trump being Donald Trump. I'm reminded always of a wonderful old Errol Flynn movie called The Adventures of Don Juan. And you remember Don Juan obviously was the great lover. And at the end of the movie, in one of those great moments in the 40s, 50s movies where the guy stepped essentially out of the screen, Errol Flynn turns to Alan Hale, I believe it is, and he says, "There's a little bit of Don Juan in every man. And since I am Don Juan, there must be more of it in me." And that's what I think about Donald Trump when I see him. There's a little bit of Donald Trump in every man. And since he is Donald Trump, there's going to be more of it of him for good and ill. But all I'm saying is the Democrats serve Putin's purposes more by keeping this hysteria going over Russian collusion, which I do not believe existed, and just keeping the hysteria level and the anti-Trump level at such a high pitch. That is what Putin wants. Putin doesn't care whether Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump is president. He doesn't give a rat's which one of them is president, as long as he can create the kind of chaos that the Democrats, more than Trump, are helping him create.